Good evening mga kalaro and welcome to the Council of Titos, the show on the Laro-Laro lang channel where Sportitos talk about a different kind of game. The reality TV game show and social experiment that has run for over 2 decades. Survivor. I'm Chief Bisdak Joel Parcon and with me as always is Vice Chief Bisdak Jao Atienza. What's up, Jao? How are you doing?
Hey.
All right.
You're my number one.
Yeah, you're my number one too, man. And Martin's also my number one, and I'm sure that he's your number one too. Right? All right. For this episode, they should have made that the title of the episode. For this episode of the Council of Titos, we are giving our thoughts about episode 4 of Survivor Season 42, entitled Vibe of the Tribe. The council is going to give their highlights and lowlights for the episodes, as well as their thoughts, predictions, and the best survivor, the GOAT survivor, and the purple survivor of the episode. Let's get right into it. Let's go into our highs. What have you got, Jao?
High is so good.
High is so good?
Yeah, I'm still like really high on high.
Wow. Why do you say that?
Because he was able to rope in Mike.
Mm.
Right? After Mike was essentially like put on the outs, all of a sudden they're like hugging in the challenge. Like there's an alliance forming here. So like, yeah, being able to navigate the first couple of days and end up in the position where like he has the numbers in the tribe. I mean, granted, Mike doesn't have a vote, but numbers in the tribe
because he still hasn't said the phrase.
Yeah,
right? And we still haven't seen who in the Ika tribe has the advantage, right? Or it hasn't been shown yet.
Yeah, it's it's Potato Gate apparently. That's what they're calling it, right? Like Potato Gate, because what was it? There was the thing in the promos for the season, right? Like potatoes have skin, I have skin, am I a potato? And it supposedly sounded like Tori. It supposedly sounded like Tori. And the editing would lead us to believe that it was Tori that had it, right? Because like as that's going on for the voiceover, the B-roll is like it cuts straight to like a shot of Tori.
But we never really know. They might have Tori might just be parroting what the phrase is, but someone else actually has it.
Yeah, but then that brings me to like, I guess one of my lows for the episode. If in the beginning they set us up to think that Tori is the one that has the phrase idol, to have her as the decoy boot for this episode, to the more like to the Survivor fandom or whatever, like it might be something that makes it anticlimactic.
Yeah, it became, they telegraphed something when they did that, all of the pre-show promos leading us to believe that Tori was the one who has the beware advantage over on Ika. Well, you're still high on high. I'm definitely still very much a fan of Jonathan. Dude, Jonathan. This guy, he is steamrolling through this competition, right? And on top of that, aside from being so strong, right, he's such a humble servant. He says it himself that's his service. That's his service. His strength it'll be his form of service for his tribe mates. That makes him that makes him such a likable guy. I mean, given that not a lot of like strong players actually make it towards the end, but us seeing that Jonathan is not just a meat shield, right? He's also got the social game. He's likable, right? The thing that you can question would probably whether or not he can actually transition all of that into becoming a leader, into coming out ahead compared to the other castaways, right? And you can actually like, for example, in basketball, you can see how good or how great a player is when you notice that they change the rules of the game just to make sure that he's not dominating as much, And I
Yeah.
personally think that for that reward challenge, the producers changed the rules just so that he won't be as dominant, just to try and balance dominance. Because Probst made it a point to say that each tribe member is responsible for shooting a ball
Yeah.
in the hoop. Otherwise, it
Yeah.
would have been just Jonathan doing all of that and getting all four of them right away, right?
Yeah. Well, that was something that I found really weird as well. Like, it's only now that he wasn't given the opportunity to absolutely steamroll the whole thing. Because like in the previous challenge, right, he was the one that threw all of
The
the
sandbags,
bags or
yeah.
whatever, right? But like now that they make it such that everybody has to pull their own weight, um that's when the other tribes start talking about how they have like Aquaman or
No,
Goliath or whatever.
Thor.
Yeah, Thor, sorry, Thor.
Tori mentioned, alluded to him as Goliath, and then I think it was Romeo who alluded to him as being Thor. Or yeah, so
It was the podcast sphere that alluded to him as Aquaman because he looks kind of like
and the way that he swims, I mean, even in the previous challenge, even in this challenge,
yeah.
yeah, he was practically pulling the boat on his own.
Yeah, he's like a stronger Jason Momoa.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, it really goes to show that, yeah, Jonathan is very strong, but again, he's a very likable guy. The only problem will be whether or not he can actually use all of that, his
Yeah.
strength and his social game, whatever social game he's got. And and we also sort of got a glimpse of how smart or he was, because he was the one who was directing the other two with the ropes, right?
Yeah.
He was on
Yeah.
over under. He was the one directing Omar and who was the other one with him? Lindsay. He was the
Lindsay,
one
yeah.
directing them, making sure that they had the ropes, and he had the strategy down. So really, I think that there's a little bit more than meets the eye to Jonathan's game.
He's hiding his puzzle prowess.
Yeah. He said 11 on purpose for the triangle. He didn't want to come off as like the perfect survivor player right away. He didn't want to look as if he was playing that hard that early. Yeah.
The thing that stood out to me, and this was because I watched Peacemaker, and like he's a big like buff wrestler looking guy, right? Was like right at the beginning or during his like flashback story where he was talking about like his dad, or like when he was a kid, his dad would make him and his brother run up a hill, and like whoever
Whoever
lost had
lost
to do it,
has
yeah,
to do
had
it
to do it a
again.
couple more times. It's like, oh man, this is giving me like major Peacemaker vibes. Like having his kids fight.
Well, yeah. For the information of our Kalaro, Peacemaker, it's a TV show on HBO Go here in the Philippines. It's on HBO Max in the rest of the world, I think. It's about this character from the Suicide Squad, played by WWE star John Cena, and his backstory is similar to Jonathan's, only a little bit more violent. No, not just a little bit, but only
A lot
violent.
more violent. Like what was it, like Peacemaker's dad would have him like fight in a pit
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
him and his
They'd
brother.
have him. He and his brother would fight, and that was actually part of a big part of the reason why John Cena or Peacemaker's character became Peacemaker. Yeah.
But then
Any other
yeah,
highs that you got?
and then seeing it, seeing them take that, or seeing Jonathan take that potentially absolutely traumatizing experience that he had as a kid and turning it into something that's just so nice and wholesome, and like,
Mm.
this is what I have been dealt, and how can I use this to be, of service to the community, be a better person in this world. Like, oh my god.
Right? It makes
Wow.
him such a likable guy. It makes him such
Yeah,
a noble guy. It makes him such a noble guy.
they're
Right?
noble. That's a good term for it.
Yeah.
It's made it quite clear that we studied Shakespeare in college.
That's what liberal arts can do for you. Yeah. Well, I failed to mention this when you mentioned your high on high. I'm still on the high road. And I love the fact that High called out Daniel's lack of a backbone. I love the fact that he did that. He was able to call a spade a spade. He really saw what was there, and he didn't mince words about it. And that was at the start of the episode, right? And he immediately said, "No, Chanel said, I don't care if you want to talk to people tomorrow, but we need to clear things up." And then High right away says that I need to clear things up with Mike. And yeah, he none of them really are going to take any of Daniel's BS anymore, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fun. That's kind of low, man. That's one of my lows. Like Daniel, like continuing to fall apart with a sort of corresponding high of Chanel being really sneaky.
Yeah.
Like,
Chanel was able to
plan?
dodge a lot of the because Daniel did point that out too. Like why doesn't Chanel get any of the blowback? It goes back to how sneaky Chanel is. And yeah, that's a pretty good way of doing that. And it will also go into one of my lows later on. I'll talk about it in one of my lows. But it's not with this tribe. It's with the Ika tribe. Do you have any more highs that you want to point out?
They showed us two challenges, which is like different, like they showed us two challenges. I guess to show us just how strong Jonathan is.
Whether or not it's to build him up just to knock him down later on. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But yeah.
When the 10 fish like reward challenge, was that a mulmul that they showed? Was that their fish? Did they get like a clownfish or whatever it's called? Like
I don't think so. I don't think that they would put that as like one of the fish that they can eat. Do you think that they would do that?
Well, I don't know. It was what was it? There is when I saw the fish, I was like, ooh, that's a mulmul, like that blue fish. It was like, yeah, Pacific Islands.
Yes, it tells you where we are, right?
I used to eat that fish growing up. Delicious fish, delicious. Can get pretty big. So when they were like, "Oh yeah, Jeff really undersold the fish," which apparently he likes to do this season, these past two seasons, undersell stuff. Like, apparently he undersold the stew or whatever.
Lower expectations so that when they actually get the reward, it'll be even more rewarding, right?
Yeah. Or what's it? He was making, like, he's trying to make it, at least for us, the viewer, make it seem like it's a lot harder than it was. Sort of making up for the 26-day season, like
people. And then Marianne goes out and blurts, and then no, he was underselling.
Along with Xander last season as well, right? He was like, "You undersold the stew, Jeff."
Yeah, I guess that could be it, right? Probes might be trying to set our expectations as well as viewers. Right?
Yeah, so that was something that it's just a little high. It's a small high, not gameplay related or anything. Just I was just reminded of like my youth, my childhood in like the shoot to kill places, eating like that blue fish.
Yeah. Wow. Shoot to kill. That's something that I miss. We don't have. Well, we do have that here where I am, but it's just different over there where you are.
Well, to anybody that isn't from the Philippines, it's just really good. If ever you come to Cebu, man, you should do that. Grilled fish. Oh.
Yeah, I miss that. I should visit soon. All right. Any other highs?
I actually have a couple of other questions for you for as discussion points, but I guess we can wait for some of the we can wait for the lows, or
Yeah.
maybe this
Yeah.
could be like the beginning of another small segment.
Yeah, maybe it could be. But before we go to that segment, let's go to the new segment that we introduced last episode, which is of course none other than Martin's thoughts.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
Now for my high would be, I think, the Yellow Tribe, the first one. Because they're still on a roll, thanks to Jonathan. But at the same time, I'll put them on the low later. No, they're still on a roll, on a tear. They're dominating. I hope this will last until the merge. This is fun to watch. No, good on them, good on the Yellow Tribe. I mean, they had a medical evac. They had someone voted out. That's all bad. Hopefully, this is what's gonna reel them in and actually make them a strong four. The second high, ironically, would be Tori. Because, wow, she escaped the bullet tonight. She escaped it. Like, wow. How did they divert it to Swati is beyond me.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
So I guess that's transitioning us to the lows now.
Yeah, transitioning us to the lows. And yeah, that's actually I'd like to start with the lows. And one of my lows is actually about Swati. Yeah, I hate to see her go. She was actually my number one. I was betting on her to win it all. But for me, I think that what she did, she tried to be sneaky in telling everyone that they were her number one. That was just poor gameplay for me. Martin mentioned that how did Tori dodge that bullet? I think because of what happened to her, because of what Tori did, it opened the can of worms and it showed everyone else what Swati was doing. Right? Yeah, that what she did just eroded whatever trust she built with all of the other players, except for Roxroy. Except for Daddy Roxroy, right?
Yeah. The if we listen to some of her post game like interviews though, she mentions that at least some of those "you're my number ones" were in response to somebody else, like telling her that you're my number one or whatever. But I don't know. To my mind, she didn't have to use the exact same words. Right? Like knowing how Survivor editors can be cheeky like that. She might have said like, to somebody, "you're my number one," and to somebody else like, "all right, so we'll make it to the end." Or like, "Oh yeah, I want to go deep into the game with you," like.
Yeah, she could have done that.
Doing.
I've got your back, right? Something like that. Doesn't have to be "you're my number one," because that sort of like gives a different kind of impression. Like they're gonna be paired together for the rest of the game. Whereas just having your back or "I want to play with you," "you're the one I want to play with," that's different. It has a different context compared to saying "you're my number one." That's a very, very big commitment for someone to give.
Yeah, which is sort of related to one of my lows, but I'm not entirely sure that it's a low exactly. But like they were trying to play up the drama with Jonathan saying like we're a solid four. Like I don't know. I see that like they're like, oh, he's getting messy because in the post merge that puts a target on our backs. But it's got this sort of words in Survivor mean things, right? Or maybe this is just because like I was watching a teaching demo for somebody that was like teaching for somebody to teach semiotics. So like words and their connotations and their meanings are front and center in my mind. But like when he used the word "solid for," which implies alliance, when Jeff asked him about teamwork, he could have said like, "Yeah, we're a good team," instead of saying we're a solid four, because that has more alliance-y connotations to it.
Yeah.
Which
Especially in Survivor.
yeah.
right?
So that's kind of a low. Like, oh man, I mean, it was a little bit of a screw up, tiny little bit of a screw up on Jonathan's part, I would think, but like not really that much of not really that much of like a low. But I figured I'd bring it up since we mentioned it last time as being part of the next time on Survivor this week.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. How it really bears a lot of meaning, especially in Survivor, where solid or being number one or basically mentioning any kind of number like
Yeah.
final three, right, or solid four, or my number one, mentioning any kind of number can be problematic because uh, it immediately gives the connotation to others that okay, you're thinking only of this group, right, or
Yeah.
this pair or this pairing, right? Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and yeah, but I do think that just like how you said that Survivor editors can be cheeky, I really think that they really played up that whole "I'm just angry at Jonathan," that whole clip that they added
Yeah.
in the last episode about Marianne being angry at Jonathan. Yeah, so I still think it's a low, not that low. But yeah, I still think that was a misstep, I could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite overblown though, I would think. Like in the grand scheme of things, like, quite overblown.
Yeah, especially with how they're blowing away the competition right now, right?
Yeah. My my fear with this tribe is that what they're setting up for the post merge is something like how the previous season told the story of the downfall of Shannon Ricard,
Mm,
right? Because like at least their story, so much of the pre-merge was setting them up as like, the big post-merge threats,
mhm.
and they run pretty deep, and then they just sort of fall apart. They in an almost sort of Shakespearean tragedy, right? Ricard votes out Shan. Like I'm scared that that's what they're setting us up for in
Oh,
yeah, in their tribe. So
mm.
like, I don't know. I should actually be taking these down. The what are they setting up? And like at the end of the season, when we do our season wrap up, did they set this up? Did they set this up? I'm gonna
Was
do
it
that now.
properly set up? Right? Yeah.
I'm gonna do that now. That's part of my theories. Let me just grab my notebook while you talk about your next low.
Okay. All right. So my next low, I still don't get how Lydia continues to get recognition from Jeff. When they finished that puzzle in the what do you call this, the pizza puzzle, in the previous
Hmm.
episode, she was getting recognition like, oh, yeah, Lydia, this is what do you call this, retribution or something. But she was getting recognition from Jeff about it. And then even with this episode's puzzle, the fish puzzle, uh Jeff still threw some recognition at her. I'm personally not seeing the reason why she's getting that recognition. For me, she's just she's actually just there. She's barely there for me, right? For that entire thing, she missed the key twice.
Yeah.
She couldn't grab the key twice, right? And then if you really think about it, she's just kind of right now, the way that I see her, she's lucky that she's got an alliance with High. Aside from that, I haven't seen anything from her. I haven't seen anything that she's brought to the table.
She's tough. No? She's a tough one. I really like her social media. Like her Twitter is hilarious.
Okay. Okay,
Like if
well,
you,
I don't check the social media of the survivors. I'm assuming since she's one of the younger
yeah.
castaways, she's very active on social media.
I would say that if we're going by the way that Erica was edited last season, she might have a shot.
Mm, yeah, I get your point there. I get your point there.
But as to
Yeah.
why Jeff seems to like her, I don't know. Maybe it's just Jeff because
Yeah, try. I think
likes, you know.
in a way, maybe Jeff wants to like uplift the younger.
Yeah.
Sees the need to uplift the younger castaways like Marianne, and then this time it's Lydia. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to uplift. He was trying to throw Zach a bone in that first episode by asking him what it takes to win Survivor, and then Zach was just gave that really, really stupid answer. Right?
Thing about Jeff Probst, he's like really nice now, right? Like,
Mm.
but there was this something that stood out to me from one of Rob Sesternino's podcasts. So I just realized Rob Sesternino, out of an hour of television, manages to get like 7 hours worth of internet content. The man is a genius. What was it he was saying? He said something along, somebody in one of his shows said something along the lines of Jeff doesn't like quitters,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, Jeff likes people that try, and Jeff likes Survivor fans. So, like, seasons 41 and 42 show us a nicer Jeff because it shows us Survivor fans that try hard.
Mm.
So he's like nice.
Okay. I can see how that can affect how you would treat the contestants. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because he's had a number of quitters all throughout the previous 40 seasons.
Apparently he has a larger role in the casting for these past couple of seasons.
Mm.
So like, okay, maybe that could also be a thing. Like, if they're terrible, then like they might say that was a bad idea, Jeff Probst. We're taking that power away from you now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It-
Anyway, what about you?
that's it.
Any other lows that you've got?
Something I found weird, they didn't talk about the rain, or they didn't show the rain,
But
Right,
they did
because-
talk about it though.
but they talked about the rain. They
Yeah.
didn't show the rain. That's just like bad storytelling.
Mm.
They didn't set it up.
Maybe they thought like, oh, these Survivor viewers have seen the rain year in, year out. Yeah, if we just mention it, they'll know what we're talking about. But then again, who was it? It was Daniel who said that it's a whole lot worse than what we actually see on the show, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, that's my well, I suppose it's both a high and a low,
Mm.
right? Because I'm high on high, but
Mhm.
like I suppose the down on that is like Daniel giving lawyers a really bad name. you know Bro, I come from a family of lawyers. My girlfriend just like took the bar.
Uh-huh.
Like we're waiting on the results. So
Uh-huh.
like I have quite a lot of respect for lawyers.
Mhm.
And Daniel is just showing exactly what not to do as a lawyer.
The wrong side of being a lawyer,
Yeah.
right?
Because
Yeah.
twice, presumably within the same like 3 or 4 hour period, he makes the exact same mistake
Mhm.
by trying to insist upon like, this is what we're going to do because it's what I want to do.
Mhm. Exactly.
Instead of trying to make the case that this is what we should do because it's the right thing.
Exactly. And all throughout he was trying to throw blame. Well, partially
Even
correct.
in confessionals, he was trying to throw
Yeah.
shade at Chanel.
Yeah. like as it maybe trying to get sympathy from the viewers, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, watching Daniel play right now is so hard. You can see that he's a fan. But the way that he's using whatever he does in the real world here in the game, it's not that effective, right? He's not using it properly. I can probably say that Tori is sort of finding the right way of using her being a therapist, especially with that tribal, the way that she was like saying, you know what Swati is doing is and she was becoming all therapist like, right, with the way that she was analyzing what Swati was doing. But in the other side, on the other side, you've got Daniel, who's not using his lawyer skills pretty well.
Yeah. What's it? Another low for me is your pick.
Yeah, Swati. That yeah. I didn't see that she would do that. Oh gosh, I didn't see that she would do that. I thought that she was gonna be her character. I thought that her character was gonna be something like Jonathan, like because she's
Strong.
yeah, plays the game the right way in a sense. Doesn't do all of those. You're my number one. You're my number one. You're my number. Isn't the social butterfly? Yeah, I didn't see that from the. I've only seen like the pre-show interviews that they've had. Other than that, I don't really know that much about her. And her being an immigrant, being an Ivy Leaguer, and also part of the National Guard. That really, I thought that meant that her character was strong. But yeah, unfortunately, I think that yeah, that may have been also part of her youth. She wasn't able to
Could be.
strategize that well.
Yeah.
Well, she could have fine tuned it. I think that she had the fundamentals right. Like when she saw that Tori was made a huge mistake, because had Tori not had the fact that she mentioned to everyone that they're her number one, not come to light, or had that not happened, it would have still been Tori, I think. It would
Yeah,
have still been.
definitely.
So what else about my what else about my pick do you find as a low?
Well, sort of adjacent to that, Roxroy. I guess one of the things that I'm wondering is what are they setting up with Roxroy being, with them showing Roxroy being super bossy, right? Because like when he was sitting out of one of the challenges, because they need when he was sitting out of the reward challenge because they needed him for the immunity challenge, they made it a point to cut to him yelling instructions.
Yeah.
And that
up and down.
Yeah, like, really? they're really driving that point home, huh?
Yeah.
like I'm just wondering how that's going to pay off, you know, and how that's going to play into like the merge. Is that going to be, you know, something that makes him like the merge boot?
It could be, or who knows? It might even his boot might come even earlier. I assume that he's the one who's most out of touch right now on that drive. Yeah, so it might come earlier, because there is that shared experience now of uh, Drea, Tori, and Romeo.
Romeo.
And Romeo. They have that shared experience of finding out that Swati called all of them her number ones, right? And they banded together to vote her out. And Roxroy was not a part of that. Right?
Yeah, so Roxroy is really the one on the outs.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how they're still building it up. They still built it up in even in the next time on Survivor. They still have that whole thing about him being bossy. Even in this episode, they really highlighted that, right?
Yeah.
Romeo has a confessional about it. Tori has something to say about it. Yeah.
Making the same mistake as Daniel, being all like, "No, we're not going to talk about this now. We're not even sure if we go to tribal yet." Like, but at least he has a justification better than I'm not feeling it. But you know,
yeah.
At least he still has that. But like, it's Daniel moves, and don't know. It feels like this particular, at least the pre-merge, seems to be the story of the two other tribes falling apart, with gosh, what's the name?
Taku.
Taku, with Taku being like the strong tribe, even though even though Jonathan might have used the wrong words or whatever, like that was a point that was made in these past two episodes, that like it's Taku strong, and the other two tribes are just sort of falling apart. That's what I noticed about our conversation, which could be setting us up for something in the merge.
Yeah, hopefully not. But yeah. Well, anyway, let's see what our friend Martin thinks with another segment of Martin's Thoughts.
Martin's Thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
Back on the low, Jonathan. Jonathan, what the hell were you thinking? Don't say that you're a strong 4. That's bad, man. Very, very bad. And I don't know why, but Swati, I don't know. It's so sad to see her go. It's a bit of a consolation low because she should have not been the person voted out here, but she is, so that sucks.
Martin's Thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
Our friend Martin slowly turning into a WWE announcer. He's always been a fan of WWE, but yeah, he's right. He's right. He did point out the same thing that we sort of pointed out about Jonathan saying that they're 4 strong, and Swati, how Swati got voted out when it should have been Tori. Yeah. It also just shows you how good Tori is, weaseling her way out of that vote. I guess this is the time when we can go ahead and you can go ahead and ask your questions for discussion.
The beware advantage. Is Mike doing the right thing with the idol?
Ooh. Because we, as viewers, we sort of have better knowledge because we haven't been shown whether or not the beware advantage on the Ika tribe has been found. Now, if it hasn't been found yet, I think that Mike is still doing the right thing of not saying anything. Now, if as viewers we would have seen that Tori or whoever really got the beware advantage on the Ika tribe have already found the beware advantage, then I would think that Mike is not doing his job. Right? I think that now he is going to start. He's going to start doing it. He's going to say it whether or not he hears someone else say the phrase. But for now, I think with the information that we have as viewers, seeing that the beware advantage of the Ika tribe hasn't been found yet, I think that he's still doing the right thing. What do you think? You think that he should have said it already?
No, I actually, if I were in Mike's position, I would wait until the merge. Unless somebody else says it. Unless somebody else says it, wait until the merge because he's not on the outs yet.
Yeah. We did from last episode, we did think that he was gonna be on the outs. That's why I remember that we talked about it also last episode, and I think I said that I think that he was going to say it already. But since Hai approached him and they sort of have this bond now,
like they don't show dudes hugging on Survivor.
Yeah.
So like that was a moment.
Yeah, that was a moment. They had it was a good moment, and then they really emphasized, they really pointed it out. Yeah. So
another question. Are the odds of shot in the dark like too unfavorable?
1 in 6.
Because it's been
Yeah.
used what 4 times, 3 times in 4
3
episodes.
times. Yeah, three
Yeah.
times in 4 episodes and not once. It goes back, right? I mean, it's not like the odds don't go higher with every shot in the dark that gets taken, right?
Yeah, it's always a 1 in 6.
Yeah, it's always a 1 in 6. Huh. Well, you would think that they should increase the odds, but I think that would give. I personally think that would give more than enough power. Just for example, from a 17%, you increase it all the way to 33%, a 1/3. You double basically the odds of getting a safety a safe parchment, right? I think that would be too much power as well to the shot in the dark. It's really meant to be used by people who are so desperate. I Here's a question for you. Do you think that Swati was right without knowing the votes yet? Do you think that she played it right?
Yeah, because it wouldn't have made a difference. Because her
Mhm.
vote wouldn't have made a difference.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
Like that's why Sydney last season played it wrong. Because she could have forced a tie if she hadn't played her shot in the dark. But so far all of the shot in the darks have been either unanimous or like really on the losing side. Um I get
Yeah.
the feel like now that I'm thinking about it more, the shot in the dark feels like a mechanism to encourage players to blindside more.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Come to think of it. Yeah. Go ahead. Well,
Like
expound
I
on.
don't know. I guess the Survivor producers like showing us blindsides. It just seems like the thing because last season they were really good at blindsiding people and
Mhm.
no shots in the dark. Now like they're all sloppy. So like shot in the darks abound.
Yeah.
Or shots in the dark abound. But
Yeah.
on the shot in the dark, it had better have like a big moment at some point in the season. Like
Mhm.
it had better have like um a really big moment because if not, then like oh man, that was kind of pointless.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've been showing it getting used, right? You mentioned it. Three out of the 4 times it's been used. So you kind
Yeah,
of figure that it's gonna have its moment later on. They're gonna show how like what do you call this? They're gonna show how it was really effective, right?
yeah. It's something that they showed, and this is for the moving forward part now. Like what we think about, what we're thinking moving forward. I'm not going to talk about the next time on Survivor.
Uh-huh.
Um, when Daniel said he needs something he needs to turn on a dime, he needs a dime to turn on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this was pointed out by one of the podcasters. Is that setting him up to be the person that breaks the hourglass?
Ooh. Mm.
Returns, and the other, or perhaps like the shot in the dark is the dime that he turns on. Just like they could be setting that up by showing that line. Other than the fact that it's like a pretty cool line,
Mm-hmm.
like it could
Mm-hmm.
be setting up him using some
Yeah.
advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. Him getting favored by the survivor gods in one way or another. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, personally, I do hope that Daniel gets voted out already. uh, uh, yeah, you said that you're not going to talk about the next time on Survivor, but yeah, in the post mid credits scenes, they did show Chanel. That was Chanel and High, right? That was Chanel and High, and they were talking about how Daniel's shoulder is about to pop out, and he's still fishing. He's still out there fishing, right? Uh, in one way, it can be comedic, but in another way, it can be like, wow, how good of him, right? He's all out, he's out there hurting, but he's still working to provide for the tribe, right? Yeah, but yeah, really, I think that Daniel's suffering should be ended, and he should get voted out already.
The
Suffering
previous,
literally because of his shoulder, and suffering because he's not really playing the game that well. Yeah.
But if the I don't know, but if the previous next time on Survivors or anything to go by, he's staying one more week, at least one more week. Because the ones that they insinuate are on the outs just stick around.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of on the outs, yeah, we mentioned this already, but Rox really is very much on the outs. The way that he's motivating, his motivation, his style of motivation, it's not working. It's not effective. And he doesn't have a pulse of the tribe. He thinks that he's leading the I think he's there was this, I think it was what I forget the name of the guy, but there was this one guy who thought of himself as the leader of the tribe, and he puffed his chest up to think, okay, I'm the leader of this tribe and all of that. And then it ended up he actually wasn't. People were not listening to him, and I think that Roxroy fits into that. I think he's that kind of a castaway here. He thinks that he's the father. He's the one who's motivating everyone. He doesn't see that people are not responding to the way that he's motivating. He's trying to motivate them. Hopefully, if we do get the tribe swap, although do you think the tribe swap is happening soon?
Probably not.
We've been saying that this tribe. We said 2 episodes ago. I said that there was a tribe swap coming up, and I was mistaken. Last episode, you said that the tribe swap was coming up, but it didn't happen. So, is it gonna happen this time?
I can tell you that the merge is probably going to happen in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Like the merge is going to happen week after next. So is there going to be enough time for a tribe swap?
A tribe swap
with one episode between now and the merge. The reason that people are reasonably sure that the merge is going to happen 2 episodes from now is it is a 2-hour long episode 2 weeks from now. Or, yeah,
is it
2 hours? Yeah,
because it's scheduled to be a 2-hour episode.
Yeah. So next week is an hour, and then the week after that is 2 hours. So, like the prevailing theory is instead of leaving us on a cliffhanger like they did last season with Erica and the Hourglass, they just have it as one whole episode.
I see.
I suppose that would make it a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, because I immediately know what happens. Yeah, I see. Oh, okay. So I guess I guess that the chances for a tribe swap are getting closer to 0 now. I was really hoping for a tribe swap because it would create the new dynamic. I mean, you've got the Taku 4, the solid 4, according to Jonathan. It would be cool to see how that would fare, even before the merge with them getting separated. Not necessarily into 3 tribes. I was hoping for it to become 2 tribes, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, how many are there left? How many of them are there left? So you've got the Taku 4. You've got Ika is also down to 4, right?
4, yeah.
Ika is down to 4, and it's only Vati who's 5. So that's 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. After, they need to go down to 12. So you'd have because if you're gonna have a final 3, then you'd have 9 on the jury. Or if you're gonna have a final 2, if they're gonna have a final 2 this time, that would be 10 on the jury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get with the numbers. I think that the tribe swap might not happen. Yeah.
But then last week you were like tribe swap. Last week I was like tribe swap. Now that we're saying no tribe swap, they're gonna have like a 2-day tribe swap.
or maybe they for like a reward challenge, they group them into 2. right? Or something like
Yeah,
that. But that
yeah.
couldn't happen because there's 13 of them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't have any more predictions about tribe swaps or no tribe swaps. Yeah. But another thing another thought that I have is that the producers, aside from changing the rules to make sure that competition is a little bit more balanced, they also try to I think they're trying to grasp at straws and trying and they're looking for material to try and make Taku not as unified as they actually are, right?
Yes.
That little bit about Marianne getting hit, I think that again that's getting blown out of proportion. Uh, yeah, I do think that it might not be as big as it is being led on to be.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is what scares me. What are they setting up?
Yes, yes. What's the
Why?
payoff?
Why
What's
are
the
they
payoff?
trying to show us cracks?
They're trying to justify something. Maybe Marianne might be like the catalyst for the break of the Taku for, because you've been saying before, right? How Marianne always has her emotions on her sleeve.
Yeah.
Maybe that she makes a decision based on emotion that breaks the Taku for. Right? That might be a storyline that we're headed for.
Oh, before I don't know, before we like see Marianne isn't as annoying as she was in the first two episodes.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that she's been on the island for like an extended period of time already, so her energy is going lower and lower. So yeah, she can't be as vivacious as she was during the first 6-7 days.
Yeah, it's like I was able to get behind the energy in the first episode. I know you weren't. The second episode, it was starting to get to me, and then like she started mellowing out. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, good,
yeah,
good,
dude.
good,
If you're gonna swim, basically, if you're gonna get carried or dragged by Jonathan dragging the boat, in that immunity challenge, uh, you're trying to keep up with Jonathan so that you don't get dragged, right? Because you're hooked onto the boat. If you don't swim, if you don't expend energy, you're gonna get dragged by the boat, which is
Yeah.
being dragged by Jonathan. I'm sure that took a lot out of Marianne. But yeah,
She was trying to
yeah.
keep up. She
Yeah,
was
she
like
was trying to
behind
keep
the boat at one point.
she was like, Jonathan was like, oh, over here in the front. He was over here in the front, and then there's the boat, and Marianne's like right here. She's trying to keep up. Poor Marianne. Poor Marianne. Yeah, but yeah, she is mellowing out. Even her reaction to seeing the new Vatu tribe. Vati, was it Vat? Is it Vati? The new Vati tribe wasn't as big as it was prior. Then again, she didn't have a crush on Jenny. She had a crush on Zach.
Zach.
So yeah, any other thoughts or predictions that you got?
Oh.
That's it. So yeah, let's go on ahead and listen to the thoughts and predictions of our friend, our WWE announcer friend, Martin, with Martin's thoughts. With Martin.
Martin's
thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
My prediction on the next episode is, I'm still high on the Green Tribe, falling apart. They're still falling on the seams. I think they got lucky here. They really got lucky in this episode. I ain't hating on Green. I love the Green Tribe. I love my Ricardo. I love Shan. Yeah, there's like High here and maybe Lydia. I'm really wishing for them to go deep. But at the same time, I think that tribe's still something that's going to self-destruct. And Mike, finally, please say your damn line. Man, you're making yourself look bad. That's it for my thoughts.
Martin's thoughts with Martin. Martin. Yeah.
Okay. So, Martin still high, but not on high. He's high on the Green Tribe, breaking at the seams.
Well, we can see that. Interesting. We disagree about Mike.
Yeah.
I think Mike is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Until he's on the outs, he doesn't need to play hard for an idol.
Yeah, because it becomes an idol at the merge, right? And aside from the people on his tribe, no one else knows that he's got that beware advantage, right? So there would be nothing. There really is no need for him to say the line.
Well, that's super interesting now that you bring it up, dude. Like, wait, actually, we should be saying that's super interesting now that you bring it up, Tito. Oh no. What was it? It could be like, you know how in the past, immunity idols were like only one or two people knew about them, and it was like, oh my god, he has an idol. But now it's like idols in this new era seem to be like public knowledge, right? Like, if they become full idols by the merge, the idols are no longer public.
Why would you say that?
Like, they, let's say that because now everybody that knows about the idol, that knows about the beware advantage, knows that Marianne will have an idol come the merge.
Yeah.
But nobody from any of the other tribes know that Mike is going to have an idol.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a secret. Like it was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
idols are public property in this new era, but this seems like it has the potential not to be.
Yeah, and it also motivates Mike to play harder, so that his team, especially in immunity challenges, so that his team doesn't go to tribal, so that he doesn't have to worry about not having a vote, right? So it motivates him that way. Yeah, and then if the rumors are true that this next episode is going to be the last episode before the merge, all the more Mike shouldn't be saying it anymore, right?
Yeah.
All the more he shouldn't be saying it. We've got just one episode left, unless they do like a double elimination for this next episode.
Ooh.
Right?
At which point, like the way the timing is working out here is Tori, or I don't know, Drea, or Roxroy gets the beware advantage, and one of the stories coming up in the next episode is going to be whether or not Mike is going to say the phrase. Like whether or not he wants the other tribes to know that he has an idol.
Yeah. That's gonna be the choice. That's gonna be the choice he's gonna have to ponder on, right?
And that's the prediction for the episode coming up.
Yeah. Wait, your prediction is that he's gonna have to think about it, or
my prediction is it's gonna be Mike's dilemma.
Yeah,
that's going to be one of the stories of the episode, or one of the through lines of the episode, that Mike is going to have to decide whether or not to say it, and he's going to be tempted by whoever gets it on Ika.
Yeah, because what we're probably gonna get at the start of the next episode is the fallout from tribal, and then the next morning, I'm sure that there's gonna be a scramble to look for an idol. That's probably when the beware advantage is gonna be found, right? And they can only say the phrase. They can they say it if you have like a reward and an immunity challenge? They can say it in both times, right? Or can they only say it during the immunity challenge?
I think it's just the immunity, right? I'm not sure. I can't remember what the rules said.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. You
Because
guys watching,
Marianne,
if you know, just tell us down in the comments when the people who found the beware advantage can say their phrase. Right.
and also something else for people in the comments to say in the comments. Who was the survivor that Tito Joel was talking about? Previous survivor that Tito Joel was talking about.
Oh yeah.
That thought that he was like running the tribe, but turns out he wasn't.
Yeah, he was this guy with dreads. He was in a purple tribe. I remember him distinctly as having a purple shirt. Yeah. Yeah, you know, your Tito is getting very forgetful. So help me remember, guys. Okay. So we're done with our thoughts and predictions. We now go to our picks for the week. First of all, let's give our survivor of the episode, castaway of the episode. Who is your castaway of this episode, Chow?
Jonathan.
By far. It's Jonathan. Right? I mean, yeah, he continues to shine. The guy is like, he's a god right now. He's getting closer to becoming one of the survivor gods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I also have him as like the castaway of the week. Honorable mention for me, the rest of the Taku tribe. I think that their combination is just right. You've got Jonathan with the strength, and a little bit of tactics. You've got the smarts of Omar, and the energy of Marianne, which now that she's mellowed down, I'm starting to appreciate. It's not as in your face as before, right? So I'm starting to appreciate her energy. And the fact that Lindsay, I saw this even in the first episode. I think it's also because she's a dietitian. The fact that she has that general caretaker vibe. She is the caretaker that Tori wants to other people to think she is. Right? So yeah, Lindsay has that general I want to take care of you, and I think that's her contribution to therefore. Yeah. So yeah, the honorable mention to the rest of the Taku tribe. Now let's go from the castaway of the episode to the goat of the episode. Who's your goat of the episode? Oh.
Lydia, as
Lydia. She missed because
she missed the
she missed the key. She practically did not contribute anything to because
and it feels like she's being pushed further and further into the background of the edit.
Yeah. At the start, she had all of these confessionals, and now you hardly see her.
Yeah. It's like they've already told her story. Her story was like, I don't mind getting like sand between my toes anymore. Like that's like she already had her growth moment in the first episode. You know?
You're just now gonna coast through the rest of the episodes until you get voted out. Yeah, for me, it was my girl Swati. It was my girl Swati. My number one, Swati. Oh gosh, I don't know if it was a youthful mistake, a rookie mistake. But yeah, just going around saying that everyone's your number one. We've talked about it in the lows. That was just such a bad move. Such a bad rookie move. And she even said that, oh, you know what? Boston Rob got voted out in his first tour. I
wanted to bring that up. I forgot.
Yeah, and then wow, you're like putting yourself at the level of Boston Rob.
And Boston Rob wasn't voted out fourth, apparently.
Yeah, he was like deep into the game, deep into the season. That was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that we're gonna see her as an all-star, because that's what she was saying. She might come back as an all-star. But yeah, Swati, poor play, bad move. And Tori was able to take advantage of it to dodge that bullet. All right, now for the purple of the episode. Who is your purple of the episode?
Probably still Lydia. Again, she's being pushed further into the background of she's being pushed further into the background of the edit.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with me. It's Lydia. We don't hear her anymore. We started not hearing her from last Tribal. I don't remember hearing anything from her. She said something about being loyal to High, but aside from that, we didn't quite hear anything from her. And then all the way up till this episode, we did not hear anything from her. At the start of the episode, she missed the key twice. That was her highlight. That was her highlight. Missing the key twice.
Yeah. That's why she also got like the goat of the episode for me. Like when your highlight in an episode of Survivor is like your failure and they don't do anything to try and redeem it in the edit, it's just like terrible.
Yeah. Oh,
but
gosh.
you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, those are our picks for the week. And that is it for yet another episode of the Council of Titos. Things are getting exciting. It seems that there's just one more episode left before the merge. If it happens, we'll be there with you. Now, if you liked our video, hit the like button so we don't get voted off the island. Also, consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll get notified whenever we come up with new content here on the Laro-Laro Lang channel. This channel has other shows on it focused on sports and other similar things. Anyway, this has been Chief Bisdak Joel Parcon.
And Tito Joe. Hey, I like that now. I'm coming to terms with being a Tito.
There you go. We hope that you can join us on the council again next time. Until then, stay safe, everyone. The Titos have spoken.